Welcome everyone to TEXAN Tailgate episode 44. Tonight we're just going to be hanging out with the Wolf Pack. Hope everybody has had a great week. It's been just one of those weeks where crypto Twitter honestly feels like Jerry Springer edition, but I guess maybe we're getting those vibes because we now have a trailer park on the Pulse chain, which is very interesting. But with no further ado, to kind of help unpack the week, we got Crypto Compassion. How's it going, man?
Going good. It's going good.
Excellent. And we've got Vibra Finance. Adam, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, sir. It's good to be back. Always a pleasure to be with the Texan fam.
Oh, absolutely. It's been just a really interesting week. Getting to see a lot of people roll out various protocols for Pulse Chain. It's we're getting closer to the happening. Just recently saw Maximus DAO launch the pool party for hex staking, which is always awesome to see. Seeing a lot of other protocols launch, and John, I think you were able to attend the Pulse Chain Tour, Texan Meetup, where crypto meets real estate. So,
yeah. No, it's it's always really nice to meet people in person. I think it goes so much beyond just crypto when we meet people in person. Like in the green room, we were just talking about your hat, Adam. We were down at the golf course, chopping it up. Everyone was having a good time, even though it was hot as hell down there that weekend. When you can meet people in person that are all rowing in the same direction as you, and then you start talking about stuff outside of crypto. I know, Adam, you've talked about like Texaco or Hexaco, if you will. And we start talking about these digital economies that go beyond just crypto, and helping each other, make that economy, make that community that we're striving towards, that's beyond what we're being force fed. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, Texas was awesome. Obviously, when you get the chance to sit down and have dinner with Corey and Dane and RG3 and Black Hexagon and SJ and Danny the singer, that's good stuff. Danny's doing a lot of stuff in the philanthropic, nonprofit space that goes beyond just crypto. He has a heart for giving back to people, and RG's just tearing up the tour, as far as putting tours in a lot of different cities, planning to go to Europe, planning to go to Canada. I wouldn't doubt that he's probably losing money on a lot of this stuff, and that's all at the expense of just trying to spread the good word of what we're doing here. And hats off to him for all the work he's been doing, and SJ and Black Hexagon for stepping up and helping him keep his head screwed on straight while he's doing this. So it was a really good experience. Like I said, anytime you can meet people and you have that opportunity to say, cool, I'll call you and we'll start doing business beyond crypto. You have that opportunity to really start making strides towards new paradigms that you envision, that you want to forecast into the future. So I'm looking forward to Vegas. That's like in 2 weeks, so that should be cool.
nice. How have you been, Adam? How's things been going?
Good, man. I can't complain. Busy trying to work on some stuff behind the scenes, and really excited for Pulse launch coming up here this week. I think there's a lot of the OGs I talked to that I wouldn't expect to be bullish on it or reach out and be like, dude, I really think this project's going to do well. I'm excited for it. And I see that, it's kind of like, okay, damn, maybe I'm maybe sleeping on this a little bit. And I feel like it's weird when you first come into crypto, you start researching projects, and you start looking up teams and founders and tokenomics and use cases, but you don't know these people. You recognize it, but they're not your friends. And then in Pulse Chain here, when people who are your friends start building projects and they're like, yeah, I'm launching this coin, it just doesn't feel like, oh man, this coin could do 1,000x. Like this coin, everyone's going to be super bullish on it. It's I don't know what it is. It's maybe a mental thing with me that I need to get over, but it's just, I think it's exciting and shows you how early we are. And man, this stuff's it's going to happen so fast. I think legislation this year, stablecoin legislation will come in, and that's going to really pave the way for the next step of like payments and like the transition from banking to the new decentralized way that I see coming in a couple of years. So I'm just excited, man, and looking forward to being here and building after this bull run and getting a good group together and just crushing it.
Absolutely. And speaking of early, let's go ahead and say hello to chat. We got Drix here. Thank you so much for being here. Yep, K. Got Hex Glenn. Hey guys. Got Mobius. And Legends. Absolutely. So yeah, it's nice to get together and just kind of be with like-minded individuals. We're all in crypto and DeFi for the very same reasons at the end of the day. So I know recently that Brandon created the R2R network, which he is sharing his platform with various other crypto builders and influencers in the space. And I know, Adam, that you are you're getting on board with that, and it's really cool because it's nice to see people share that stage and platform and support and help one another, and everybody covers like a specific area that's like a specialty to them. And I know that you are a very thorough, well thought out, researched individual, because I listen to a lot of the streams and I hear you talking about stuff I've never heard of, and I'm like, even if I wasn't like going to invest in it, it's still nice to at least know about it, because learning is always free. And I guess if it's not happening in the Pulse chain, maybe this is true for other people as well. It kind of gets past me. So
yeah, it's that's what I try. Hopefully the message relays to people, and I really try to only talk about stuff that where we all get it with Pulse Chain and Hex and this community. We see the light, we see how undervalued we are, how gate kept we are, and how much upside we have. And there's very few chains that have that upside. And Karate Combat, everyone saw BitBoy this past week fighting. It was people were betting on it on Pulse Pot. I saw like $10,000 was won on the fight. So that I've been talking about karate since last summer, and this is how long it takes for people to be like, oh wow, this is actually really cool. And so maybe I gotta get better at relaying the message and like explaining how big these projects really are. And it's not just going to be one chain take all. It's going to be a lot. There's gonna be multiple winners out here, and it's going to be about interoperability and just having liquidity on a chain. That's all I think that's going to matter. And then once we're able to move that around, it's not going to matter where you have it. And I'm just excited for that future. And yeah.
Adam, could you on that note, could you kind of hit on the home of like why you call it Vibra Finance real quick, and then I'll piggyback on back of that real quick, like why you had your
I would say it's 95% facing reality. When we were looking for a name, it was like, all right, frequency, sound, vibration. And someone was just like Vibra, and it's just like right away was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool, and it just stuck, and I think it was a good choice.
So like on that note, like probably about 20 seconds ago or whatever, 30 seconds ago, I kind of thought of you as like the Marco Polo of like, we talk about these digital nations, and Pulse Chain being like a digital nation, and you got all these different nations, and like Marco Polo was like this traveler in a sense that like you're well versed in like so many different avenues and areas of different economies, and like, we always kind of poo-poo and we're all these maxis, but you got to think that there's like all these different economies that thrive. And like you said, that are going to become interoperable at some point, where it's just like, it's not going to be as tribal as we are. Like we kind of have our tribalism on these islands, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden these islands are going to have highways that are like going to be connected to one another. And anyways, for some reason I thought of, the Marco Polo. You're the Marco Polo of our chain. You're I don't want to say you're the traveler of the Silk Road, but you know what I mean. Like, but that Vibra finance and that high frequency is, the farther I go down these rabbit trails too, of like, Emerald tablets and Vibra, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're on that kinetic, cosmic, consciousness, so it's good stuff, man. I appreciate you're one of the hardest working, individuals in Pulse Chain, and I appreciate your insight.
Thanks, bro. And I feel like almost blessed to be able to do this every day and have the time to put in the research, because not everyone has that time. And I feel like you got to have a backup plan. Like we all think one thing, but what if that 1% chance of something bad happening? Do you have a plan B? Do you have a plan C? And that's what I think is very important. And then once you start looking around, man, like if tomorrow you jumped into the karate Discord or the saucer swap community we really like, or some of these other coins, it's the same thing as in TEXAN, as the same thing as in Pulse Chain. It's people that are passionate, that believe in something and want better. And when you find, I think a lot of these communities are similar, and that's what this cycle, I think people are going to start realizing is, I don't think everyone's not our enemy. They all think the same. They just believe their project's a little bit better. It's like sports teams. Everyone can love the NFL and not hate each other. There's rivalries and it's good for everybody. And I think that's where we're headed. And I'm excited for it, man. I think, someone's got to be here and just at least educate you, at least so you can know about it. You don't have to invest in it if it's not for you, but just knowing about, oh man, so there's digital IDs coming. There's supply chains. We're going to have RFID chips in all its things we buy in stores. So it's going to prevent all kinds of theft. So you can walk in and go to Home Depot and buy all these electric tools, and they're not going to work till you scan the RFID chip and activate it. So there goes all the you can't steal them now. They're worthless. So that there's so much that's going to change so fast, and, getting ahead of these things and a little bit of money in the right stock and the right crypto in 5-10 years could be life-changing. And if you have that long-term mindset and you have conviction and you believe in what you're doing, that's all you can really ask for. And when people are around you that are doing research too and helping you out and, giving you different points of views or just different insights, it's all about your network. And I try to just surround myself with people that are way smarter than me so I could just learn from them.
No, absolutely. And got facing reality here. He is like a soccer scout. Somehow he finds the gems.
Yeah. I saw a couple of tweets this week and I didn't respond to them because people were kind of, I won't even say the names, but they were kind of dogging on maybe like Las Vegas or whatever. And you just hit the home on like your network is your net worth. And I'm such a believer, like, hey, you're missing out on all these X's because you're going to go spend $2 or $3 grand in Vegas. But it's like, I feel like I'm expanding my network. And it's that network. It's like when you get to like that promised land and you don't have a network, watch out. I mean, you look at anyone who's won the lottery or anything like that, they don't have a network around them. They don't have the smarter people, like you just said, around them to help kind of guide and coach them and, influence them in the right direction. So, obviously people can get distracted. They could just go and do it for all the wrong reasons. But if you're looking to expand that horizon of your network, you're in the right place.
100%, man. And even like I can use, there's multiple times where I've been talking with people about crypto and thrown in TEXAN because it related with something, or just use some XRP or whatever it is. There's so many different ways. And when you can just find that common ground with someone right there, it's like that wall breaks down immediately. Then you can pitch them on Hex. Then you can pitch them on Pulse Chain. You got to just find that little soft spot or that common ground where, because everyone's in crypto for a reason. It's either they're in it for the tech or they're in it for the community or for the gains.
Yeah. Drix, fully agree. At Crypto Compassion, I'll see you in Vegas. So
it'd be nice, man.
Yeah, that is really hats off to Pulse Chain Tours, RG3, Black Hexagon, a Wild SJ. I mean, they are doing a phenomenal job. And, you know, just like I heard Triplet Dad 007's, you know, he said earlier today, you know, going from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I think they have plans to do some pulse chain tours in Europe that might be coming up. But we got to see a new front end for Liquid Loans come out about a week ago. I just found out about it a couple days ago, OX Barista, which is supposed to help strengthen the USDL stability pool for Liquid Loans. So that's really cool. And like I said, I'm seeing people, you know, they're cranking it out now before we really, you know, take off. So I do feel like we're in a bit of a time crunch. So I was going to ask you, Adam, like, for where we're at getting into the halvening, we still have probably a small window of opportunity to probably DCA, get whatever. It's almost like last call for alcohol at a bar. Like, basically, if you see it and you want it, get it now. Because once you get past April, it's like these prices, you know, they're gonna go up, and you know, the plane's gonna take off. So you got to have your baggage with you to get on the plane.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that it's really narrative driven right now, and you're starting to see it with like the AI stuff really starting to move. The decentralized storage, Filecoin and Arweave, and that's becoming a narrative now. The decentralized, the DPIN, the decentralized infrastructure now. NFTs are coming back again. And like even just DeFi, seeing Uniswap just pop like that, seeing Sushi Swap pop. It's like, all right, we got 2020 summer coming back again, and that's all we can ask for. I think is if we repeat last cycle and Chainlink starts to move and Quant starts to move and it's very similar, I'll be very happy. But I think it's going to be more narrative driven this time, and retail is going to start coming in around the halvening. It's so just ingrained in people that I think Bitcoin is going to really underperform. I thought for sure it was going to go to like 125, 150K, but now I'm really starting to think the hype has died off of Bitcoin. And I think Sami, as much shit as we've given him, I think his 80K call is going to be pretty damn close, bro. I really do. And that's going to disappoint a lot of people. But what I've been talking and trying to learn from Erwin is the ratio trades with PTGC, the burner coins, and any of the PRC20s. Really, you got to get in the habit of not looking at them in USD. Click over to Pulse and look at the value of these coins in Pulse, because when you can find coins that are at their bottom versus Pulse, you can just play the ratios. You don't need to get in and out of stuff. And the same thing with Pulse and Pulse X. If you know how to play that ratio, you know, I don't know if it's closer to 3 now or 2.5, but there's ways with doing the ratio trades where you don't need to take really any risk. And once you can understand that, I mean, it really has opened my eyes these last couple weeks. And
yeah, and when you take a look at the ratio aspect of it, you have to take the dominant pair, which for Pulse Chain it would be Pulse, and you take a look at which pairs are bonded together, and as Pulse is going up, the ratios of what it's bonded to, you know, changes vastly. So when you take a look at the price chart, it's like if you're buying Pulse up here and then the asset that's, you know, bonded to it is down here, it's like, which one do you think has the opportunity for more pumps? Because bonded pairs, as they rise and fall together, the ratios change greatly between them, which is a different way of looking at things in terms of DCA. But yeah, it's it is just really interesting with everything that's going on, and the window of opportunity is. I personally feel like it's getting smaller, so it's like please, do I have time to get that one last buy-in?
Yeah, it's going to happen fast, man. I'm seeing it across the board. You look at Uniswap now. If you were waiting or whatever, if it was on your radar, it just doubled in price overnight. It's never coming back to $6 or wherever it was again. And I think that's going to slowly happen. It's starting with AI And now I'm starting to see the gaming alts I have are pumping 50-60% right now. So the certain narratives are going to move at different times, and I think you got to be really glued into those. And if you're here every day and you know what those are, and you can front run them, I think that's where a lot of the profits are going to be made. And with Pulse Chain, just the PRC 20s. So if you're holding a bunch of them, like Aave or Chainlink or Uniswap or Cult, look at the ratios. And if you don't know what to sell in or out of, or you're questioning it, look and see which ones are down the most against Pulse Chain, and see if others are towards the top against Pulse. And that you want to stay away from those. There's probably more upside in the ones that are suppressed. And it's until the charts prove it wrong, it's just a waiting game. So it might be 3, 4, 5 weeks, but that ratio will swing around, and you just have to be patient. But it takes away having to swing trade, and I really like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and that's one of the things I think that's going to make things very different this coming bull run. Is we have things that we didn't necessarily have previously, like you have a network, a layer 1 that is affordable, and you can do everything that you need to do on it. You don't have to worry about necessarily getting priced out. I know that as volume picks up on the blockchain, the cost for PLS is going to go up, but nowhere near in comparison to what's going on with Ethereum. Now, do you know if they are going to have any sort of an upgrade to try to fix these scaling issues, or do you think that it's going to be kind of more of the same, what we've been dealing with?
I know there's the recent upgrade that came out, the Dankhoon or something like that, for sharding, and I know they're reducing fees on all the L2s by like 90%. And I think that I read a tweet the other night on stream that was saying, ETH is it's so overvalued right now. There's half of the users it had in 2021. And from 2021, there were 120,000 or so daily active users. In 2022 into 2023, it was cut in half. So I look at that and I'm like, damn, they're dropping users. I'm sure it's back closer to up there now, but we were gaining users the whole time. And these L2s are building. There's way more hype around Metis and Arbitrum. I think the mainstream now, they're going to start shilling ETH because the ETF probably.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, what's ETH going to do? Go to 4,000, 4,500? So it goes up 50%. That's great. The good altcoins are going to run 5, 10x at that point. So, yeah, man, I'm excited, and I'm with you around the halving. I think what I'm doing personally is I'm not adding to any positions after the halving, unless it's like a pre-sale or something new. I might get into it, but I'm not rotating anything. I'm not moving anything around. I'm done. I'm going to just stop, because that's the biggest mistake. All the smartest people I talk to and follow, they all seem to have made that same mistake. Is last cycle, they took their profits, and instead of rotating them into stables, they kept rotating them into more altcoins, more degen plays. And eventually that one goes wrong, those two go wrong, your profits are just gone, and they can evaporate in front of your face. So I'm not doing any of the rotating. I have conviction in what I'm holding. I feel like I've done all the research, and holding is the hardest part. So I'm doing that, man. I'm going to try not to touch and click any buttons and just sit tight and watch.
Absolutely. And looks like we got another guest backstage. Godfather, what's going on, man?
Good evening, gentlemen. How you guys doing? Sorry I'm a little late. Just cleaning a little bit, prepping for dinner.
Oh, no worries, man. Good. Great to have you. Always. That's a cool thing about Tailgate, is that the only rules is like wear clothing, and we try to keep the language down to a acceptable level for all audiences, but sometimes it's kind of slipped, and I'm like, all right, whatever. But so what like going forward into this cycle, like, well, before I even ask you that question, Adam, I personally feel like, when you take a look at the John, when you take a look at the market cycles, like there's a time to DCA, and then there's a time to basically be like, okay, you know what? I'm happy with what I got. I've fired off as much dry powder as I've got. This is what I'm riding into the, bull run with, because you don't want to be DCAing into assets during the bull run. You want to, DCA out at different levels, limit orders. So, so you're not wrecking the price, because exiting responsibly is something that I've put a lot of time and focus into, and ways to do that. So I know once Freedom Swap gets up and running, that's going to be a great tool to educate people how to, exit positions, so that they're not just, you got to educate people if you want different results. But what are some of the things that you would feel safe taking profits into? Personally, I'm fine with Pulse X, but and I know we've got algorithmic stablecoins on the Pulse chain.
You mean for like the next bear market, like in a year from now ish?
Yeah, like if you were wanting to, like obviously we have our core assets for most people. It's going to be like Hex, Pulse X, INC, or whatever that is, and TEXAN.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you were wanting to lock in some gains and hold long term, going into the next bear cycle, what are some things that you would feel comfortable with? Take a look at.
Honestly, I'm gonna just hold USDC. That's it. I think next bear market is gonna be the Tether black swan, pending news, pending disaster. I just don't see. They now have like $80 billion in T-bills, like the top 20th biggest owner of bills in the world. So clearly no one wants them. They're just giving it to Tether. Like, all right, we got this Ponzi scheme over here. It's just printing billions of dollars in Bitcoin. Whatever, we'll just let that run. So I think that's going to be a potential problem. So I don't want anything to do with it. So I'm going to just switch, hope probably USDC and then die on Pulse chain. Hopefully, my dream scenario is that PUSD is up and running, and it's the whales come in and just say, screw this, we're going to defend this thing with all the big boys. We're going to defend holding it at $1. We're not going to team up and try to destroy this like Three Arrows Capital, like all these guys did to destroy Luna. So if I would love to see that, or even liquid loans. I mean, I'm not going to use liquid loans, but what I want to do is, my dream is Bank Social. It's a new decentralized credit union that's coming out. It's in beta right now. You can now download the wallet and you can tap into it with your internet money wallet. So imagine a world where you could take any of your PRC20s, TEXAN, any of these things, sell into a stable coin, log into Bank Social, and put it into mutual funds, bonds, a variety of different assets that are going to be tokenized on the blockchain. And you're going to access that with a digital ID. And when you transact, you're not going to leave your entire wallet address. It's just going to be like, a bunch of stars in the last four, like your credit card. And that's what's going to be when institutions, hedge funds, when they start using DeFi for real, when we can't just copy trade them and track their wallets and all that. So once that privacy level is here, and I think that's coming with legislation in the next 6 months or so. So I think we're going to see it be in a completely different world in a year from now. And talking about just putting into stable coins and holding is going to sound so crazy when there's all these new options coming out with tokenized real estate, tokenized art. I mean, there's so many things you could invest into that we're not even thinking about right now. So that's where I'm going. That's where I'm trying to get people to think about, is stop thinking about stable coins and think about where this is going. If you want to buy a piece of the Great Wall of China, if it gets tokenized or I don't know, but there's going to be some crazy things out there, but it's going to be awesome at the same time. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and one of the things I noticed recently, taking a look at the Gophers, the ERC 404, which I get the gist of it, which is to like fractionalize and break up NFTs, because I think for a while they've had an issue providing liquidity. So it's just so many new narratives popping out, and Hold on one moment. We got another person backstage. Facing reality.
Oh yeah, let's go.
I had
The
to do
sun's
it.
coming up. We got a full
What
moon
up,
out
man?
here, and the sun's coming up right there. You gotta love it.
Exactly.
Uh,
Oh, it was so funny. How's
Yeah,
everybody doing?
doing good, man. How are you?
Can't complain. I mean, back with the family, so heck yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
That's-
some time, man. Can't believe it's what, 4 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more now, bro. I was looking. I think it
Dang.
was like almost the end of 2019.
Yep, close to. Yeah, insane. How quick
Mhm.
time. I was still here.
Did you see
And
Wales?
that's
Did you
why
see
we're gonna
Wales'
make it.
tweet?
No, which one? Oh, from the yeah, from the
Like it
rocket.
was like from 20 minutes ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. At some
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
we'll all wake up.
Absolutely epic. I saw alien when it hit. I saw some aliens and PTGC sprinkled out.
Heck yeah! What a run now.
Some reptilian.
Man,
That would be
yep,
the
aliens,
greatest-
baby, up in the
greatest
firmament.
group.
It's
When you're
been
talking
wild,
about-
right?
When you're talking about taking profit, I kind of was thinking about like you said, like those real estate tokenization. I even thought about like it probably wouldn't even hurt to get some of that boxable NFTs. You know what I mean? At the time, you know what I mean? Hit the top of the market, but we'll have different options other than just boxable. Meaning boxable is that little tiny homes NFTs that Power City was pushing there for a minute, which I'm sure will come back online. But what I'm trying to say is if you could slide at the top into real estate tokenization, that'd be pretty awesome. I mean,
Yeah, that's what's coming, and it's like I think
Yeah.
it'll be where there'll be different options where it'll be like 5% a year, 10% a year, a little more risky, and then there'll be like a management company that's hired by the DAO that performs all the leasing, management, all that stuff, and then it generates the income, and then it's divided up, and it'll be it's just wild to think about and where this is going. I think with AI, it's going to happen so fast. Like just the AI and regulation are like the last pieces of the puzzle. And once it can kind of govern itself and govern these DAOs, like the sky's the limit.
Oh yeah, yeah, and eventually stocks and bonds are going to get tokenized into a form of crypto because that's what makes it appealing to younger folks. Because you take a look at stocks, bonds, CDs, gold, silver. I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, that's old money." Like a lot of people my age or younger, and it's like they're going to basically reinvent the wheel to give it a facelift and make it look more attractive and more appealing. So because most of the traditional finance world, you have to go through some sort of middleman to do things that you should be able to do yourself, which is buy, sell, trade, send. So it's going to be real interesting. And yeah, we're at a place where technology and legislation are like they are so far apart. It's not even funny. And that's it's basically people trying to play catch up. How can we prevent a free market from being a free market? So a lot of things happening this year, elections, and then we've got what else do we have going on this year? Federal rate hikes, which we should start to see decreasing and going down because, you got to have the economy looking good when certain people are trying to, get reelected. So, fudge the numbers, sweep things under the rug. And then once they get elected, they just start the same bullshit all over again. So
it's like they do these bingo
yeah.
and then put the numbers in. Okay, that's the number for now. Let's go with that one.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to the possibilities that we will get because now we're all thinking about how we're going to take profit, and most of it is probably to stables or Bitcoin or ETH, I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot more possibilities to do it directly with crypto. Every cycle you see it become more and more. Now, last we heard about Ferrari being capable to buy it with. Last cycle it was Elon. I mean, if this keep on accelerating, the options that we get to actually benefit from our gains could be easier and easier, besides stablecoins. At least I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing that's always concerned me, especially with the USDC and the DAI, is I've always heard that they do have admin keys to potentially, turn them off. And because I've heard, well, they could invalidate them, in the bridge. And it's like, and I think a lot of them were invalidated as far as I think the DAI was. I'm not sure. Somebody might be able to correct me on that. But I don't know. I tend to like the concept of algorithmic stablecoins, something that's, over collateralized, which I think is cool. But we're all trying to find the best store of value. And we're all, seeking, financial freedom and sovereignty. There's many different paths to get there.
Yeah, I think legislation too is a big part of it. I think it's going to really help out. And I'm hearing some things that they want to make all proof of stake, where you're not holding your coins. Like with Hedera, for example, all the staking on there, it's liquid staking. So once I stake my coins, they're always in my wallet. I can always swap them. So I don't know if they take like another dummy token and put it in that pool as in place of yours. I don't know how it works, but I know I'm holding my coins while they're earning yield. So they want to make it if that's not the case, it's an illegal security, where if you're giving your coins and putting it out somewhere else, that's not going to fly. And I could see that being a problem for like institutions and hedge funds, where they can't legally custody these assets. They have to have PolySign or standard custody or a third party hold them for them. So I just see it being a big problem. But at the end of the day, I think it's all going to work out when you're seeing the things Fidelity's building out with MetaMask, Internet Money Wallet with Bank Social. Like, interoperability is coming, and I think the future is going to be bright. And like what you were saying with how they could just shut down USDT or USDC, those are CBDCs. What everybody's paranoid about CBDCs and they're tracking them, they can do this. That's what Tether and USDC are. They can take it out of any wallet at any time, even cold wallets. So don't think that you're gonna just send your Tether through Tornado Cash into this wallet and be like, no, the DOJ can come take your shit at any point. So that's why they're pushing USDC so hard, because it is the CBDC.
So basically, they're already here. They've already been here.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of times I was under this train of thought, like, okay, when are they going to roll them out? And it's like, oh crap, they're already here. So, but I mean, the thing about it is, DeFi was meant to be trustless, and as soon as you start trying to go away from that, it falls under the pretense of not a pretense, but it's a security. And this is why so many people are wanting to take back control over their money and their economic energy, because it's like Lick Gaines said it best himself. We are in DeFi to be trustless. We don't need to be trusting anyone. We just need things to work and do what they're supposed to do. And I know to some degree and level that we are trusting other people to create things and build. But once you have a finished product that's immutable and can't be killed or turned off, at that point, it's trustless. It's a truth engine. You get in what you put out of it.
When did the government create anything? They just steal everything from somebody else and then tell everybody that they created it.
Yeah, they created inflation.
Yeah. So
Oh,
why create
well,
a new CBDC if there's already
right.
one tried and true? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, go for it.
I think it's really just a way to try to get people to collectively agree to not hold each other accountable for, debts. And it's they buy up, T bills. And that's the thing, once we went away from the gold standard, there was accountability with that. Now that there is no gold standard or silver standard, nothing, it's basically just deficit spending. It's writing a blank check. It's, well, I'll charge it on a credit card until the interest gets too high or the bill comes due, and we'll spend ourselves to death. And it's, so that's basically, it's basically what it is.
Who's behind USDC?
Circle.
Circle. And who's behind Circle? JP Morgan, Chase?
JP Morgan.
Yeah, so then you keep going down that chain of like who is at Jekyll Island, JP Morgan. So you look at that family history of like Jekyll Island and the Federal, Reserve, and like how that all that like that origin story of where that came from, and like the Leviathan creature it is. You start to see, like you said, when's this CBDC going to come? It's here. You know what I mean? It's like, I know that Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, always poo-poos crypto, but he's just positioned himself.
It's magician. He's a magician, bro. The wordplay that he uses, if you listen to it, he never says he would ban it. He specifically said, if I were the government, I would ban it. So people don't understand the difference with him saying, oh, I would ban it. I would just ban it. No, if I was the government, I would ban it. So there's they never asked him if he would. So people think that but no, they asked him, well, if you were the government, what would you do? So, oh yeah, I'd ban it too. I'd want to. So it's wordplay. And what really I'm thinking now is I kind of see the petrodollar's gone. So everyone's talking, de-dollarization. Like, I've never heard of that word in my entire life up until a year ago. And that makes me think like the opposite is everybody needs the dollar more right now because all the currencies around the world are collapsing at a way faster rate. So when you're the last one or the strongest one, people are going to need it. So I think right now it's actually deflation. I don't think it's inflation. I think they're lying about it. And when do they tell the truth about anything? I think we're in a huge state of deflation, and with AI, it's gonna exaggerate that like crazy. So they're trying to get out ahead of that by jacking up rates one last time, creating this bubble. Because as soon as AI comes and these jobs start going away, hyper deflation is going to set in. I think. I don't know how it does it. With COVID, that was exactly the same type scenario when all CPAs, all financial advisors, all these paper pushing jobs are gone because AI replaces them. That's the same thing as shutting down 60% of the economy, I think. So now they know what to expect. I think that was exactly what that was more for. I mean, I don't know, but I just try to think about these things.
Well, in order to introduce a new system, you have to collapse the current one. And anytime these things happen historically, it's really nothing more than just a transfer of wealth. And it's a power grab. It's designed to, get back more control over the people and force everyone to adopt a standard that benefits somebody else. You're trying to coerce people into almost like a contract agreement, except people consent to it willingly. Therefore, who's really the bad guy in the situation? So it's like you're forcing somebody into a choice where they really don't have a choice, where sometimes I look at voting as like, okay, going to vote for the guy in the red or the guy in the blue. It almost feels like the illusion of a choice, because it's like neither one of you are going to do anything to, y'all are just trying to preserve the establishment. And right now these banks are, they're doing everything they can to preserve their legacy, but, everybody is going to have to shift and get on board. And things are just going to become more digital, and the internet is it's totally different today than what it was 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. So people are just going to have to adopt new ways of doing things. But right now, there's no regulatory clarity. And the reason for that is because they do not have control over the market. So it's like, let's not have clarity. Let's operate without any rules or accountability. And let's try to destroy as many people as we can so that we're not operating outside of any sort of framework. It's almost like lightning warfare. Let's take as much ground as quickly as we can.
Yeah. And then you look at stuff with like Stronghold, the company I've been talking about for a while because it finally blew up. And you see that, oh my God, they've been working with IBM and 100,000 institutions since 2018 with their stablecoin. So it was 25,000 to start. So these guys were able to buy this stablecoin and then go to Hex Trust, go to these third-party intermediaries and use all of DeFi. And we're sitting here being told, oh, the legislation it needs to come. It doesn't, because everybody that has benefited or been using it is just using it without saying anything. And there's the few cases where Ripple pushed the boundaries and really started shaking stuff up. They got sued. So you see a couple cases here and there, but for the most part, they've been operating under our noses without us even knowing it. And they create this huge puppet show over here for a couple little companies, but 100,000 institutions are using that stable coin alone. And that's not even for retail. We're not even allowed to have access to it. So we can't even see what they're doing on their private ledgers with all these different companies. And we're never going to be able to see it. And they're only going to come to the public ledgers where they can do it with privacy. And that's going to come with after legislation. So like, I think things are really going to change, and 99% of cryptos are going to die within the next 2 years, I think, moving forward. And this bear market is going to wipe out all the nonsense. I really believe that, unless you have a community that's active and is passionate and will actually be there and sacrifice a little bit for the chain, which right now no one will do except in Pulse Chain. You'll see that everyone else will just leave with zero shame around crypto, with no loyalty or no accountability. And I think that's going to change.
Oh, absolutely. And we got Drix, too much truth here, censorship imminent. So, yeah. Since nobody really thinks about censorship resistance until you are actually being censored. Like we hear that term thrown around so loosely because we're in the Pulse Chain ecosystem. But when you actually legitimately are getting censored and you have people trying to force you into some sort of compliance, it really does matter. And, just like the tech doesn't matter in crypto until people can no longer interact on the blockchain, like the tech matters when it really matters. So I took a look earlier. I heard that Avalanche C Chain ran into an issue where they were not able to continue processing blocks. I don't know if that got resolved, but I was like, wow. So, and then with Ethereum, I don't know. I feel like they're going to be heading down the path of centralization and OFAC compliance, and it is going to get pricey to transact on there, because a couple of weeks ago I was looking into setting an LP position just for giggles, like let me connect to Uniswap and see, and it was quoting prices of like $200, $300, $400, and I'm like, why? It's not worth that. And I'm just like, you know what? y'all gonna find out. So
yeah, I've had plenty of mints just recently with Titan X that have costed me $200-$300. I mean, I do it because it's worth it, but it's not fun.
You have to.
You have to. It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But
it's not going to change.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've tried to help as many people as I can to give them the best recommendations to, get some sort of value onto the Pulse chain so that you at least have Pulse to, send, claim, do transactions, whatever you need to do. OX Coast has been a really, I've had a lot of, positives with them. just because I didn't want to use the bridge. I don't want to go through a centralized exchange, buy ETH, send it over the bridge. I'm just like, I just want to get my value directly on the Pulse chain. And they were the first ones that rolled that out. So I'm just like, that works. But I know they're not available in Texas, but they are working on it. But eventually I do hope to see lots of different roads, not just between Pulse chain, but all these blockchains where, you can come and go effortlessly. And I think that is, interoperability is key to adoption.
Yep.
100%. And it's common, man. I really do like to see legislation is such a big part of it. I really think a lot of the solutions are here and they're ready to go and they're on deck. It's just not the right time right now. I really think there's going to be something that happens with the banking system next month, just with all the insolvencies around the banking system. I mean, 700 plus banks and the medium to small banks. That's not good. At any point you pull the pin and it just pops. And I don't know. It just feels like that would be the time, but who knows, man? It's an election year. Anything's possible.
All right, so check this out. This is what I find funny is how the banks are so anti-crypto, but here's the thing. Some of the profits that I want to take in crypto, I actually want to pay my debts off to the bank. So it's like, come on, like I'm trying to be responsible and take care of what I need to take care of. And, everybody, wants to have a happier, debt-free, more fulfilled life. And, especially if you have families, you think about these things like, so I don't know. It's almost like prohibition, man. It's like, and then you look at marijuana, it's like people are not going to stop buying it. People are not going to stop buying guns. So it's like, you might as well, get you a piece of that action.
Yeah, bro. You're right. It really is funny. And the banks just complained to the SEC last week that it wasn't fair that they couldn't custody crypto because there's so much money in custodianship now that they want to be able to custody crypto. And rumor is Coinbase is working on a bank acquisition, so they're going to be part of a crypto custodian and bank, and then Ripple is going to be part of the central banking system.
Mobius, paid debt is bad to them, yes, because the borrower is the slave to the lender, so debt is basically, it's holding a leash and a collar. It's chains. And but you know what, there's more to life than just working, paying bills, paying taxes, and you die. There's so much more to life than just giving our time away and then being undermined from that.
Most definitely.
But John, was there anything that stood out to you out at the Texan Pulse Chain Tour? Anything? Was it more of just like an introduction to crypto blockchain? Did they go over anything specific as far as crypto meets real estate?
Well, right now we're kind of in those two separate worlds, right? Where we had a lot of speakers that were talking about real estate, and that's kind of operating outside of crypto. And then we had crypto people talking about crypto. And I think, Adam, just as much as I do, it's like, at what point do we start seeing it become married? You know what I mean? I personally have gone out and gotten like every domain .com, .pls, whether it's Pulse Hex Realty, Pulse Chain Realty, Hexaco Property, Hex Property. I'm trying to prepare for us to have the teams to come together so we could have syndications of real estate acquisitions in the future. And that's how we could transfer our wealth into real estate. That's how we could have, where we as Hexaco could own apartment complexes and all those kinds of things. But what I saw was a good direction. That's what I saw. I saw people coming together with a vision. And so that's exciting. I saw people that have succeeded in real estate and talked about real estate acquisitions. I talked, basically, I think if you guys don't know, Corey and Dane have pretty much exited completely out of real estate. And if you didn't have a bullish sentiment about Pulse Chain and crypto, they've basically sold all their real estate just to go into crypto. And at some point, when they feel like it's the right time to enter back into real estate, they will. It's like I was telling my lady, I said, hey, this guy over here, he had 24 rentals and he sold them all to get in Pulse Chain. Because sometimes she looks at me and goes, man, you're crazy. Because I remember at the height of the bull market, I didn't take any profit and I put it into Pulse Chain Sacrifice. You know what I mean? And she's probably like, what are you doing? And then it's been like 2-3 years and we're just kind of waiting. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, well, I believed in it that much then. And here's another guy that believed in it that much now. And he had to tell his wife, hey, I'm selling a lot of real estate and I'm putting it into this thing called crypto. And I believe in it.
Bro, dude, I sold real estate right out of college, commercial real estate for 10 years and leased properties, shopping centers, office space. And I tell you right now, I don't know what landlord that has office space right now isn't sweating to death because their building is half empty. So I would not want to be in that position. Retail is struggling. Everyone's shopping online. Foot traffic is dying. I would not, want to be a landlord. Even with rental properties, someone stops paying rent, you can't get them out of there for 5-6 months. It's a disaster in some states. So I don't think you're lying about that one bit. Crypto is so much less headache than real estate, even when things are good.
Yep.
How is the sentiment in the housing market in general?
Housing market is fine. It's the commercial market that's going to destroy the economy this time, because it's not JP Morgan and the big eight that gave out all the loans for these local office buildings. It's the small local regional banks that have all the loans that I think in the next year it's going to be a problem, because the banks are just hiding them right now. Once they start showing, oh yeah, this hole right here, it just exposes everything, and that's when it gets bad.
I just don't see how it can maintain itself. I've seen a lot of projects that were completely built now in preparation of new people, but they're not coming. Like thousands of houses that are not registered on the market, but are there. And then the difference between what people earn and what a house is has never been separated so far in history. I just don't see how could somebody actually buy a house. It's almost physically impossible. There's got to be a point where either or everybody starts earning twice as much, or the house needs to be 50% off. Otherwise, nobody could buy. So how's that going to work?
Yeah, you can't be near a city, that's for sure. I mean, out where we are here, it's cheap, it's affordable, but you start getting close to Buffalo, I mean, they triple. So the same house 20 minutes down the road is going to be 2 to 3 times the price, and that's where it's insane.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And got Mobius in the chat. My wife thinks I am insane, so we don't discuss it. Can't wait to show her 6 figures. So
Heck yeah, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Or 7 or 8, brother.
Makes me think of the movie scene in The Highest of Stakes, where the guy put in a ton of their money and the wife is just very doubtful and not happy with him. So, I mean, that's the thing is, for a lot of people, it just takes seeing as believing. And yeah, I totally get it. You can't go to a grocery store and buy, groceries with Hex or Texan or Pulse, but I mean, you never know. I mean, we could very well get ourselves to a place where more and more vendors are starting to accept crypto as a form of payment. I've always heard that there are some realtors that will accept Bitcoin as payment, I believe, for real estate. And I know there's some car dealerships that'll probably accept it, but it's going to be your standard blue chips. It's not going to be anything like altcoin type thing, but we're getting close, but we'll have to see. And one of the things I was going to ask you, Adam, I've heard people talk about the creation of like a crypto insurance, like if for people who get rugged on just various projects. Do you know if is that like a wish list type thing, or is that somebody out there working on it?
I got it. I still think I have a bag of a coin called Bridge Mutual, and they were trying to do that last cycle is insurance like that, but it gets to the point where it's kind of hard who's decides over these cases, what people, and I think it's just we're not there yet. But I mean, it could be something that it's definitely coming. I mean, everything is going to be on the blockchain, like all lending, all records, all financial stuff, everything. So it's only a matter of time, and that's going to be a huge industry, I think, once it gets solved. And I think DAOs and AI play a big part of that too. When the AI can like detect bad stuff for you, I think that's a big help, where you can put an AI bot into your MetaMask or whatever, and when you're doing swaps or connecting to dApps, it'll pop up something if it senses anything's bad. So I think there'll be it's crazy where it's going.
Mobius, if it got rugged. Yeah. No, I've heard of a couple people on various streams kind of float the idea out there that about insurance for crypto, which I thought was interesting. But think about it like this: your driver's license, your birth certificate, your insurance policy could be in an encrypted NFT on the blockchain, which I think it's crazy. It's going to be very interesting to see how
you would need some type of insurance or a multi-sig if you own, like, let's say you had an NFT that represented like 4 apartment complexes. I mean, you wouldn't want someone to come in, like, somehow get your seed words or come wrench attack you and take your apartment complexes that are like tokenized. You know what I mean? I mean, there has to be some type of technology that helps.
There's the custodians, that like what PolySign is and standard custody. Like, I think if you're at that level where you have a apartment complex that's worth $1 million, you're going to give it to Coinbase, or you're going to give it to someone else to custody for you. And that way you're not taking on that risk, because that is a bit, you can't just be a sitting duck with like all your stuff. All right, we know this guy's got all this stuff tokenized. Let's just go kidnap him and tie him up, and he'll eventually give it to us.
Yeah, you just exactly. So, but then like Coinbase would have to have like an insurance policy saying like, hey, if for some reason we F up, we're gonna make it right. Or I mean, there has to be something that, obviously, yeah.
I'm not a fan of insurance. I hate insurance, to be honest.
It's like
I think
mafia.
it's one of the it's literally one of the biggest scams.
Yeah.
In the old days, you had everything and you were capable to maintain it. And if it was broken, you would make a new one. But we're now living in a system where everybody needs to have something that they can't afford, and therefore have to insure for the time when it goes down, because you couldn't afford it in the first place. So if you go shopping and you can't buy 2 of them, don't buy it. You clearly can't afford it. It's the whole mindset that just did a 180 or something. I don't know. I mean, I've paid probably, I would say, close to $1 million in insurance my whole life. What did I get back from it? Zilch. I'm never sick.
You got a lollipop.
Never broke my car. Exactly. Never broke anything down at home. If something broke, I would just fix it. So I paying insurance all my life for what? For nothing. Because somebody else is a retard. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Not my thing.
I can tell you the car insurance in the Sunshine State is one of the worst I've seen, and it's crazy how companies can create such a monopoly for something that we don't really need. And one of the things I found most ridiculous a couple of years ago was when you took a look at the Affordable Care Act. If your employer dropped your health insurance and you had to go through the marketplace and secure it on your own, well, if you couldn't afford it, okay, that's fine. We're just going to penalize you for something that you can't afford, which makes no sense. So it's like, okay, penalize me. But the more that we delegate our power away to other groups of people, whether it's government, corporations, it gets to a place where it's no longer reasonable, sustainable. It gets really ridiculous really fast. And that's the price that we pay for laziness. And, we have to maintain things ourselves. No, we don't need y'all group of people over here we can take care of it. We can handle it ourselves. We're good.
Yep.
But
we're getting there.
Oh yeah.
Who knows? A sovereign state could be just around the corner.
Yeah, and before we wrap up, Adam, I was just gonna show the audience some places where they can find you. They need to have some crypto consulting. Vibrafinance.com. So if this is where they can find you.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yep. If you get that workbook right there, it is so good for new people that if you have a friend or your cousin or someone that wants to get in but doesn't know what to do, you could download that booklet and it literally walks you through buying Bitcoin, setting up an exchange on Bitstamp, setting up your MetaMask wallet, ordering a ledger. I mean, it walks you through all that. So it's really a great tool for new people.
Excellent. And it's as simple as right here, where you can just get your crypto workbook right here and schedule a consultation if you want some of that one-on-one talk about crypto portfolio, the market. Just sometimes it's really good when you're brand new to just have somebody that can really kind of walk you through it, because a lot of times we spend too much time wandering through a minefield. But vibrafinance.com. So but thank you so much for coming on, Adam, John, Facing Reality. Thank you so much. It's always great. What's that?
The pleasure was all mine, especially when my homie is on. So yeah,
Yeah.
leave him hanging.
Yeah, it's always fun to hang out with the wolf pack, and hopefully we're not keeping you up too late.
We're still early.
It's getting light out behind you.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're not there yet, but I need to be up early tomorrow, so I'm gonna go for a drive.
Yeah. Drix, thanks, gentlemen. And we got Jonathan, cool hangout. Thanks. Good night, fam. So thank you everybody for being here. We will be back next week. Don't know what's on the agenda, but we'll definitely find something. So as we get closer to the halvening, just have a plan, know your lottery tickets, and just enjoy the ride. And thank you everybody for being here. We will see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.